Hello everyone. This is for CMAT 2016 Jan exam strategy. This is the first time that CMAT is moving from a 2 exam format to a 1 exam format. I think it's somewhere a blessing in disguise. Why do I feel so is because last year, till about last year, it used to be a September version of a CMAT and a February version. September generally used to be a little too early for a person who is seeking an admission in the next June for the academic calendar. So general preparation levels are not so great, number of takers are lesser, and it's a little difficult to say this, but then both the exams did not have the same difficulty levels as far as all the sections are concerned, and the uniformity was not up to the mark. Say for example, a September is possible with quantitative and DI section being a little difficult, whereas a February is possible with a verbal ability and analytical reasoning sections being difficult. Now just depending on these smaller variations in the difficulty level of subsections of the paper, effectively the scores of the toppers, there was a great difference when I look at the September CMAT toppers and the Feb CMAT toppers. So this is a good blessing in disguise that we're going to have only one exam. The second thing is that like September used to be too early, Feb used to be too late, because all the exams used to give the exams around the results around Jan. So a CAT result is out, a SAT result is out, an IFT, a SNAP and an NMAT result is out. So effectively it's the same audience. So they have their GDPI to go for, and for preparing for GDPI they have to run a parallel preparation altogether. So preparing for GDPI and preparing for CMAT, both don't just, can't just happen together. This is one thing that they had gotten wrong, thankfully corrected this time. Now with just one CMAT, what can be a good exam strategy, and how could I, probably streamline my preparation in line with that? Till about last year, the 4 sections that used to be there, it was all structured. 25 questions of GK or current awareness, 25 questions of analytical and logical reasoning, 25 questions of verbal ability and RC, that is reading comprehension, and 25 questions of quantitative aptitude and data interpretation put together. More or less the same topics that you have prepared for all the other exams, just that there is a slight packaging difference. Now with the fact that there are 4 sections with 25 questions each and the exam running for 3 hours, we need to have a good strategy in place, because it's more of a test of what all do I know instead of a test of how quickly can I run the race through. So if I'm a CMAT taker and I'm sitting there, the moment the paper starts, my first thought process is to click on the GK section, finish it off quickly, because there's nothing called a hold up, or there's nothing which I can logically deduce in a GK. Either I know a question or I don't know a question. Till about last year, out of those 25 questions, if I'm aware with the current happenings as far as business, politics, and if I'm just following the news for the last 6-8 months, I should be able to comfortably see through 13 to 14 questions out of the 25 questions, which is a reasonably healthy number. Other things, obviously I'm going to prepare for a GK, so I should be able to crack that section. Coming from a perspective of test taking, these 25 questions shouldn't ideally take more than 10 minutes. So okay, 10 minutes done, brushed aside. I have 2 hours and 50 minutes to go, and I have 3 sections to target. Now I should know what is my strongest section. So if for example my strongest section is Quant, I'll pick up that section, look at those 25 questions, give a good potential 1 hour to just attack that section. Going by all the formats that have happened till date about the Quant and DI section put together, there's a very minimal presence of data interpretation, say probably 2 questions or 3 questions. Direct calculation, percentage increase, percentage decrease questions based on either tables or bar graphs or line charts or pie charts, which is not a difficult task for somebody who is prepared for a CAT or a SAT or an IFT or a SNAP or any of the other competitive exams. So this particular thing is not challenging. Ideally we should just crack those questions. Data sufficiency was present in like 1 or 2 numbers till around September 2014. It was not to be seen in the Feb 2015 format, but otherwise, yeah, okay, 1 or 2 questions are there, and more or less it's been observed that those data sufficiency questions are based on the concepts of quant itself. So more or less, you're already prepared for data sufficiency indirectly through the quant preparation that you've done. Now, as far as the remaining 20-21 questions of quant are concerned, they're all scattered across all the topics. So, there is a question of time and distance, one question of time and work, one question from number system, one from allegations and mixtures, one from progression, APGP, one or two from geometry, one or two from mensuration, one or two from defined functions, one or two from some other chapter. So, whatever that you've been taught and whatever that you've come across as quantitative aptitude, you can see a representative of each of these chapters in the paper. So, thankfully, on the basis of your preparation, you know what to attack, what not to attack. So ideally going through this section, and for the fact that it's your strength and you picked it up first, it shouldn't ideally be a challenge. Something like a 17 to 18 questions is a healthy number of attempts, and probably a 16 odd correct out of these attempts will be fair going by the numbers till last year. Obviously, I don't own up the responsibility the paper becomes too difficult or if it becomes too easy. Moving from there to the analytical reasoning or the logical reasoning section, 25 questions, around 16-17 questions were seen to be of either puzzles or arrangement. So they were more or less, there are 3 friends, there are 3 girlfriends, the surnames of theirs, the house number, the mobile number. So probably 5 attributes for 5 different people, 4 attributes for 4 different people, and all I had to do was just arrange them and get the answers right. You have practiced this type of questions enough that I'm pretty sure that you'll not find a serious challenge addressing them until unless the question or that particular question is extremely tricky. Otherwise, you should be in a position to crack them. 16 odd questions of analytical reasoning or puzzles, the remaining 7-8 of them spanned across nearly 7-8 different topics. So, there could be a statement assumption, there could be a statement conclusion, there could be a syllogism, probably there could be coding, decoding, or a sequence or series, or a data structure based question, blood relation based question. It could just be anything, and one representative from either of these topics was what was ideally seen. So overall, if the average difficulty level of the paper holds good, we should be in a position to attempt around 20-21 questions in that hour and get around 17-18 of them correct, keeping aside a couple of careless mistakes. Fundamental conceptual mistakes ideally won't arise as far as this section is concerned. Moving on to the last section, that of verbal ability and reading comprehension put together. Here reading comprehension has a very strong say, and approximately 16 questions are from reading comprehension. Last year, say probably 15 to 16. So there was this one RC which was extremely long, which had 6 questions in it, and there were 3 other RCs which were reasonably smaller in length. When I say smaller, they were approximately say 250 to 300 words, and that one long RC was approximately 700 words. You are able to get a fair idea that that one particular RC would have taken a lot of time, which you would have saved out of solving the remaining 3 RCs, which were approximately 250 to 300, say probably 350 words, and each of these RCs had 3 questions in it. All in all, I'll just put it straight, there were around 15 questions of RCs, out of which 6 of them were in one RC, 9 of them spaced across 3 different RCs. RCs were not as dense as what you would find in a XAT or a CAT, so not so difficult. I could rate it as moderate. Solving RCs, you need time undoubtedly, and you need to know your exact stamina. So if you are somebody who can solve only 3 RCs back to back, there's no sense, even if there's a 4th RC in the paper, you're not going to do it any which ways. So yes, you pick and choose, you know how many to solve. The remaining 9 questions were again single representative. So there was 1 question from parajumbles, 1 question, 2 questions from critical reasoning, 1 or 2 questions of fill in the blanks or analogies, 1 or 2 questions which were grammar based, which is sentence correction or error detection based questions. All in all, out of these 25 questions, if you give it an hour, a good student who has verbal ability and RC as his strength will ideally be able to crack somewhere close to 21-22 questions with a good accuracy of around 18 odd questions in this particular section. All the numbers that I'm talking about, be it a GK, Quant, AR, DI or verbal, are all on the basis of past trends. Don't hold me responsible just in case they come up with something a little bit more difficult or extremely easy. I would leave it to a paper aspirant's discretion that he will be able to figure out what to do on the last day and go cracking. First things first, sort out GK. Second, distribute the remaining time across the 3 sections. Have a good balanced score, and remember, it's not an aggressive speed test. It's more or less an ability test of how much can you solve in the 3 hours. Have a wonderful paper. Best of luck.